Hey guys, this is Short Tutorials, and today we're back at SWTOR again with Lightning Sword. And so thanks guys for sticking with me. I've been inactive for a couple weeks, but I'm back. And this time my Sorcerer's on the Lightning spec. I've tried Madness and the Healing spec, which I think is Corruption. And this spec might be my favorite out of the bunch. The Healing spec is easy, but I'm not a huge fan of healing, and the dot spec just isn't really to my playstyle. I feel like it has it's a lot of fluff damage, and since it got nerfed in the one of the most recent patches, it's a good show the other spec that didn't get nerfed in case a lot of people are switching over. So setting my phase walk on the side, and then looking over my shoulder, putting on my dot, and then putting on my dot on my other target. Pushing back because there was two of them there attacking me. I used my cleanse to cleanse some of the dots, used my bubble, and then did some attacks as I strafed to the side and got in a better position where people can attack me. Now, I'm jumping up just to make sure I can attack the guy over ridge, getting the damage increase, and then finding my next target. I'm taking some damage right here, so I need to pop my stim and my med pack while I run away. And I like this spec how when you use your force speed, you get 2 instant lightning bolts. So that's nice just to keep your mobility as you're running away. So again, just kind of doing some DPS. My health is staying up because we have a healer, and also my bubble is healing me as well. So Thundering Blast as I move away, push back the guy on me, and attacking someone over here. Now I try to move away, but as they jump toward me, I bubbled and then used my phase walk to go back in the fight. Doing my resurgence and also my dark heal as I move forward, and then as they're grouped up, my Thundering Blast and Chain Lightning does damage to 2 targets, which is nice. And then just doing my Lightning Bolt until I can get my Crushing Darkness up. The rotation for the spec is pretty easy, but I pulled one guy away because he's a Sorcerer healer and he was taking some damage, and I figured he didn't want to die there. Unfortunately, he doesn't really help me. What I like to do is if I can coordinate with another Sorc, I pull him away, then he sprints away and pulls me, and so both of us are pulled away from the fight, but unfortunately he didn't turn around to help me. It didn't really matter though because they didn't chase too much, and so we were able to get behind the pillar. Now I saw in the chat that there was 2 grass, and so I wanted to double check that we were fine there. On the map it showed that we had 3 there, but if they had 2 grass and a couple more coming, then that node would have been in trouble. But as it turned out, as soon as they got to grass, they called out for snow. And so that's kind of frustrating when the place you leave is the place it is, but instead of running back through the tunnel, I decided to run through the middle because I saw there was an assassin there and I figured I could help him finish the guy off. Now unfortunately, this dot mercenary is probably one of the better dot mercenaries I've seen that plays the spec well. So I want to make sure I can whirlwind him to stop his DPS and then move forward to try to finish off the jug. Now the Shadow or Assassin just got taken down really quickly. I didn't even have time to bubble him or pull him away or do anything to help. So then I run away. I stunned him, but he was white barred, so that was bad for me. And the Mark put an Electronet on me, so that way he's able to finish me off. Now I wanted to move behind this ledge over here so the Juggernaut couldn't jump, but that was probably unnecessary. He popped his Chaff Flare, so 2 of my strongest attacks were absorbed, and unfortunately I die. So what I probably should have done there is Chaff Flare absorbs force and tech attacks, so we have 2 options when that is cast. We can either cleanse the dots, heal up, line of sight, those options, or you can use up the Chaff Flare on your own terms. And for this, I would recommend probably using just regular Force Lightning, which although isn't a part of our rotation, can just absorb those attacks, and then that way you can use up the charges and then attack your stronger attacks when he is unprotected. But from what I've seen, Sorcerers are not very good in transitions. Mercenaries, Assassins, Power Attacks, they're very good between fights and just on the run, where Lightning Sorcs are better on the fringes of set fights. So I saw this sniper or operative was on me, so I moved aside. I told my team I targeted the healer because I did that earlier, and then Dark healed to full. Now I see that we capped the other side, so instead of finishing my healing, I wanted to get to the other node so that we could defend it. I saw the healer to the side, so I bubbled and then made sure to target him right away. As soon as he comes around, putting my dot on him and using my opener. Now I run around here and then push the other guy off just so I can get him off my back. Probably wasn't the best pushback, but unfortunately there's a lot of people there. So when there's a lot of people there, you want to make sure you call out. So I use my time while rooted to call out, jumping up, using my shock to interrupt the cap, because shock's an excellent move to do there. Even though it's not part of your rotation, again, you want to make sure you have that key bound just for those moments where you need to interrupt caps. Now I stunned the guy and moved around to the side so that I could use my Force Storm on the node, but then somebody else pushed him away, so it wasn't needed. Running away from the melee Marauder that was on me, jumping up again, doing some attacks. While he's pushed to the side, I use my Overload to push him back and root him in place, using my shock again to interrupt the guy in the node, and then kiting away so that I'm a hard target to attack. Break the stun, bubble myself up again, I kind of go behind this line of sight here while I can continue attacking. As you see, I'm continually moving, continually kiting the guy away. So then, as he stealths out, I run away again just so I can get some distance from him, and then going back on the node, I push the guys in a clump, and then use my Thundering Blast, Chain Lightning combo to get a lot of damage to a lot of targets at once. This guy is still on me, so I want to move away from the Marauder, use some of my attacks as I kite away. Go on the guy who's capping the node, but I'll then also quickly switch to the healer because we do decent focused healing against healers, and so just using my dots and everything. I think I went a little bit out of order. You want to use one ability before your Crushing Darkness to make it quicker cast, but we still get the kill anyway. Then it's just clean up here, and so I head around, target the operative because operatives are very susceptible to force attacks because their dodge only cleanses. Their dodge is mostly helpful toward range and melee attacks, so if we can get some force attacks in there, they can go down very quickly. Also, operatives' rolls, unless they're spec'd into Scrapper, which that guy I don't think was, their rolls resist tech attacks, but for Ruffian or whatever the equivalent Imperial spec, their rolls do not resist force attacks, so you can cast those while rolled and they can take damage. Now, I saw this guy was over here, so I wanted to bait him into coming while calling on the chat, but then he unfortunately sees me, and so he's actually able to put a couple attacks on me beforehand, and so he's able to get an attack and a half ahead from the start of the fight, which is not very good at all. I ran forward, but unfortunately he also used his force speed to make his attacks instant. Then this Juggernaut goes on me. I'm still doing okay though. I have my bubble, I have my other abilities, but unfortunately a net gets thrown on me from a mercenary. So although I was ready for a one-on-one, I was not ready for a three-on-one, and my positioning up for that wasn't good. Again, I said Sorcerers are maybe not the best transition specs. Madness does a little bit better because we have slightly better mobility than Lightning, but my position was poor. I had my back to their spawn area as they're coming down, so that was not the best positioning at all. So then I see that there's still a decent amount of focus over there. I already called in the chat. I might have redid my call, but I wasn't exactly sure how many people there. I think it's 4 now. Setting my phase walk away because I've been forgetting to do that. It would have helped me stay alive. Then I throw some bubbles on a bunch of people using my Thundering Blast and Chain Lightning as I get around the node, pushing someone back, and then going straight on the healer. Now, I run away because, again, we want to be on the fringes of the fights. Then I just bubble my teammates because we were taking some damage, bubble the Juggernaut, put a little bit of healing on him as he was running toward it because, as you saw, that operative threw a grenade. I wanted him to survive so that he could get the healing thing and come back. Then, as he stealths out, I go back on the node, pull the assassin and tank away because he was right in the middle of some focus and his shield was about to wear off. So then, after he's ready to fight again, I can go back on the node, focus the healer, push him away to root him in place, and then do a bunch of strong attacks to the 2 people on the range over there. We're able to make some good progress. As you see, my dots are ticking pretty hard, and as I move around to the node, we're able to get them pretty low. As I'm getting them pretty low, the rest of the team is also getting low, and they're grouped up, and so now is a good time to use Force Storm. Well, second Force Storm was probably not as good because I didn't get as many people in its radius. Probably should have done single target attacks. Unless there's a lot of people grouped up, our Force Storm hits a lot less than I think it used to. So then I'm throwing a bubble on my operative and a bubble on myself, using a couple of my healing abilities, and then using a couple force attacks to finish the guy off. Then moving forward, stunning him so my operative can get his couple damage on, but unfortunately with the bubbles, I try to throw on a barrier and a heal, but as the guy breaks his bubble, I push him back. The reason you don't want to use your strongest attacks right out of the bubble is the Sorcerer Sage is protected when they come out of their bubble, and so instead you should maybe like use a stun or use a root or something else to hold them in place, but not necessarily attack them because they'll absorb most of your damage, if not all of it. So then, as we're starting to clean up a little bit, I move off the node. Even though the Marauder stealths out, eventually it's just not worth our time. We had like 4 people on that node. We only needed 1 or 2 to take the guy down. I wanted to make sure I could get this snow. So as I'm going from node to nodes, it's important to heal up, and you have that one instant dot heal. I think it's called Resurgence, and so I make sure to cast that, and also my Force Bubble, because my Force Bubble, I expect him to healing me as well. Now I saw a Stealther go by, so I threw out a Force Storm, but unfortunately I didn't get him. Again, I'm in a period of transition, which as I said, we're not best at, but I get 2-on-1 right here. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit slow with my bubble. Both the Assassin and the Marauder are burst specs, and so as soon as I went below 30%, my health just dropped like a rock, so I was a little bit slow on the barrier. If I buried a little bit earlier, I would have a better opportunity to use my Force Speed away, get closer to the node, and not be between nodes, because, again, I didn't do very well between nodes. So just as the last couple seconds tick on, if you see a lot of people by the spawn point, you want to use your Force Speed just so you can get from one side to the other so they aren't tempted to go around and attack you. As the Stealther jumped out of stealth and me, just LOS'd him a little bit, threw out a couple attacks. So although I didn't get the best DPS, I did get best for the game, as well as some decent healing numbers. A lot of what a Sorc does is its support. You want to be pulling people, as you saw, pulling people away from the fight. You want to be bubbling people. You want to be throwing out some heals. My one criticism for this game is I didn't use my group utility buff. I have it bound in the bottom left-hand corner, and I just didn't use it, so that's my bad. But I just realized that right now. But hopefully this video helped you guys. I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. Please hit me with a like and a subscribe.